said, oh, we'll make it an hour. Oh yeah, we can talk for an hour. I can talk for a lot longer.
Yeah.
That's great.
Okay, I'm Christopher Easton.
And Paula Easton from Baker Hill Bees and Gardens in Waterford, Maine. And we are organic gardeners and beekeepers, and we have chickens for eggs for our egg customers. And yes, so we're here to talk about honeybees and native pollinators.
So we'll start, but if you have questions, don't be afraid to ask. You know, don't wait till the end. 'Cause it would be... Anyway, so we have, oh, I think about 15, 16 hives, something like that. I've been combining hives as we're getting closer to fall, taking weak ones and combining them to make strong ones. As you know, honeybees aren't native. They're originally from Europe, and they were brought over by, you know, the settlers. Well, we'll leave it as settlers. And they've been here as long as, you know, people from Europe have been here. And I know that the indigenous people used to know when the settlers were moving further west, because the bees would be moving ahead of them. They'd be out, they became feral. There were a lot of feral hives. And when they started seeing feral hives, they knew that settlers were encroaching. So if you look at a beehive, the colony that's inside that hive, and a hive can be in a tree, it can be in a box, it can be, they'll build anywhere.
The wall of a house.
Yeah, wall of eaves. You look at that as kind of a single organism. There can be 60,000 bees in a good hive or more. You need about 30,000 for them to make excess honey. But if that's one basic organism, and you have a queen, everybody know the queen. She is central to the hive because she's the one that's laying the eggs that keeps the hive going. If the queen stops laying, there's problems. And then you have workers, and the workers are all females. And they do all the work, and they basically run the hive. Even though everybody thinks the queen is the boss, what the queen does is the queen emits pheromones that let everybody know that everything's copacetic, everything's going along fine. But the workers are the ones that dictate where she lays, what she lays. So a queen lays two types of eggs. She lays fertilized eggs, which are the workers, and she lays unfertilized eggs, which are the males, are the drones, and that's the third bee in that hive. And the workers do all the work. The queen does all the laying. A queen will mate early in her life. Let's back it up just a little bit. When a queen emerges, she spends a few days moving around the hive, and then she will go out of the hive and will mate with anywhere from 6, 7 to 20 drones over a 3 or 4 day period. And if she's fortunate enough to make it back from those forays out of the hive, then, because dragonflies, birds, whatever, can pick them off and have them for lunch, if she makes it back, then she'll move around the hive. This new, now mated queen will move around the hive for a few days, and then she'll start laying. And the workers will direct her, okay, we need workers, so they'll get her laying. If there's lots of workers and they're thinking about swarming, they'll get her to lay more drones. And the drones, I know Disney says that the male bees go off to work and do it. They don't. They don't do any work. They don't have stingers. They don't defend the hive. All they do is eat and look for an unmated queen.
I have some questions.
Yeah.
So the queen mates with up to, let's say, 20 drones, and then she has all these potentially fertilized eggs that she's,
Yeah.
and the worker bees are saying, lay here, lay here, lay here. How, but does she have control over whether she's laying fertilized eggs or unfertilized eggs?
So normally, in a hive, we don't have any pictures, and we didn't bring a frame, but in a hive, if you have a frame, the workers are laid in the middle, and the drones are usually off to the side or down along the bottom. And the cells for workers are a certain depth and a certain diameter. They're hexagonal. And that's so that the queen's abdomen can go in there and lay an egg dead center in that cell.
1 egg per cell.
1 egg per cell. And basically, if this was a frame in a beehive,
Like what that guy is holding in the picture?
yeah,
Yes.
what that guy's holding in the picture, if this was a frame, the queen normally starts in the middle and works her way out to the edges laying. And if they're going to be drones, you'll see drones down in here or along the bottom. Once in a while, they do random drone.
But you can tell the difference.
Oh yeah, you can tell the difference. And then up in this part of the frame, they'll put honey and then some pollen. And this is to feed the brood, the larva that is growing down here. So the queen will lay an egg. The egg will hatch in 3 days.
Oh, wow.
And then from day 3 to day 7, it goes from this little tiny, the egg looks like an anorexic piece of rice. It's a very thin, white, and that little larva will be in, and they're feeding it constantly. And by day 7, they've capped that cell over. The larva gets big, and then it pupates in the cell, and at 21 days, a worker will emerge. People often say that they hatch. They don't hatch. Eggs hatch, bees emerge. And then the drones take 24 days. Queens take 15.
1-5.
1-5.
Wow.
Well, if you're without a queen, you need a queen, quickly. And queens can be made from any worker egg,
Fertilized egg.
any fertilized egg. So if, say you see this queen here, so there's 2 ways they're going to make queens. So if this queen started to fail, she's just not laying well, she's sick, she's dying, whatever.
Or she disappeared
Yes.
out on her mating flight.
Correct.
Well, if she gets lost on her mating flight, the hive's in trouble immediately. Once she's done her mating flight, she won't leave the hive.
Unless she doesn't get back.
Well, that's true, but that's on that. But if she doesn't get back in that 4-day period, say she goes out and gets eaten by a bird, there's no eggs in here
Oh, right.
for the bees to make a new queen.
Uh-huh.
And then you have a queenless hive, and that's a whole other issue.
Okay.
Okay?
And it
So-
will eventually die.
Yeah, the hive will die. And there's, okay, we won't get it yet. So, so she's failing, but she's still in the hive. They'll go, the pheromones aren't strong. They will take a number of very young, day-old larvae and start really pushing the royal jelly. And they will make a cell, and you can tell, there's a cell that will be like that big, right on the face of the frame. If you're looking at the frame, it would be they'd be right in the middle here. And that, when we see those, we know that either the queen is dead or she's failing. And once a new queen emerges, they usually will kill the old queen,
The
the
workers?
workers, if she isn't already dead. And then the new one will go through the process of running around the hive and going out and mate and come back. The other time that they'll attempt to make a new queen is if they're going to swarm. And a swarm is where, and we have an idea of why they do it. It can be too crowded, there can be too many mites, there can be too much food. I mean, there's all kinds of possibilities, but that nobody's really sure in the end necessarily why they do it.
And it's their natural reproduction.
That's how they
to create
reproduce.
more bees in the world.
You know, okay, now we have one hive, now we have two hives. And then those split, now we have, it keeps exponentially. But what happens is, so you have a queen, she's doing fine, and the workers start making special, what we call queen cups, usually down along the bottom or up along the side of a frame, and they make the queen lay eggs in those. They're not taking an egg here, they're having her lay an egg in there, and then they will start feeding those. Once the eggs hatch, they'll do the same thing. They'll feed them lots of royal jelly, and there's a few other things that they get. But when those queen cells are capped over, so they look like a peanut, in just half a peanut hanging down from the bottom of the frame, you'll see all these cells.
It looks like this, right here.
Oh, wow.
And when the new queens that are going to emerge are 3 to 5 days from emerging, the old queen, which they've been running around the hive to get her to lose weight because she can't fly when she's in egg-laying shape, they get her so she can fly, and usually 3 to 5 days before a new queen is going to emerge, they leave the hive.
The queen and half.
The queen and half the hive. It can be more or less than half, but let's just say half the hive leaves with the old queen. And then a new one emerges. If there's more than one,
Yeah.
then they'll fight. If one emerges, if a new queen emerges, she'll start doing what we call piping. And it's this high-pitched type of sound. And queens that are ready to emerge will respond. She will go find them. And the workers will help her. They'll chew through the side of the cell, and she will sting them and kill them. But sometimes you'll get 2 or 3 or 4 of them emerging at once, and then you get survival of the fittest.
Yeah.
It's a bee world out there.
It is. And the guys are just sitting back watching the whole thing. They're not doing anything.
But then, I have 2 more questions.
Go ahead.
Please.
One is, how long do the queens live?
3 to 5 years.
Oh, okay.
So they will mate in that 3 or 4 day period, and they will have enough sperm and ability to lay eggs for up to 5 years.
And in the summer, they will lay 15 to 2,000 eggs a day. And then in the winter,
They don't.
They don't.
In Maine, queens usually stop laying in October, and then they'll start maybe in late February
Really?
yeah, because they've got to be ready with enough workers, because the winter bees are going to start dying off.
The workers.
The workers, there's winter bees and summer bees. They're all honeybees, but winter bees are a little bit different. Physiologically, they're made differently to survive the winters, and the summer bees are different. And so the winter bees will live from September, October, all the way through February, March, and then start dying off. And that's when they need to start building up the summer bees to get on the maples and things that will be budding out, early, and gathering pollen and nectar, because they basically will have eaten most everything that's in the hive by the time those things happen.
and she lays that many eggs per day in the summer because worker bees only last approximately 6 weeks.
6 weeks.
And they die predominantly because their wings wear out. They do every job in the colony from the day they're born, but their last jobs are out flying. And they die because their wings shred and they can no longer fly.
And since we're doing that, this is a pound of honey. So a couple weeks ago, I took off a little over 100 pounds off a couple hives. This 1 pound of honey takes about 1,000 bees, a little more than 1,000 bees, flying over 100,000 miles, visiting 3 to 4 million flowers to make this pound of honey. And so if I took 100 pounds of honey off the hive, for me it's mind-boggling how far they've flown and how many flowers they've been to, the whole thing. And not only the bees are getting that, but they're also collecting pollen and they're collecting sap to make propolis, which they seal up everything with. And it takes 8 pounds of honey to make 1 pound of wax.
And they produce all the wax to create the comb in the hive.
But they don't make it out of honey.
No, they secrete it out of their abdomens.
Okay, so it's like,
It's because of the honey that they're eating. They have to take in that amount of carbohydrates in order to produce the wax that they use to build comb, or to cap the brood, or to cap the honey.
so 8 pounds of honey for 1 pound of wax.
Wax. And so they're making wax all the time, and they're also, this is the amazing thing, so they're feeding all that brood honey and pollen constantly do that, all that, and they're making excess that we can take, because we don't take anything that they have where they need it. They're the only bee that makes excess. No other bee does. It's just, and they're very social in their behaviors and stuff. And most bees, which we'll talk about native pollinators later, but so where were we? So
The bees dying because they fly.
oh, right. That's what I was getting at, because they're doing that flying in the last 2 weeks. Their wings, they kind of just start to shred, and they can't fly. You'll see them. I'll see them in the yard. They'll be on top. They'll climb up a stalk of grass or something, and try to fly. They just drop. They can't. They die of other things too. I mean, there's tons of viruses and, with the pesticides and herbicides and climate changing and predators.
Yes.
Yeah, oh yeah, the Phoebes, I watched the Phoebes sitting on this post and there's a post over there, and we got hives here, and they're just back and forth, picking up bees.
And dragonflies.
And dragonflies are the other,
Yeah.
oh yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, dragonflies
So
are
not
the
so
apex predator or one of the apex predators in the insect world.
Yeah, I didn't think they would take on a bee.
Oh, yeah, they, just a side note, I was listening to this thing about dragonflies. They don't chase their prey, they intercept it. They know where it's going and they meet it. They don't run them down. They just go, okay, you're going that way, I'll go over there and pick you up. And they go fly upside down, they fly sideways, they can go forward, backwards.
There's no
Yeah.
escape.
No, yeah, they're amazing things, but yeah. So the wing thing is one way, but the thing that now, and we'll go right into it. The biggest thing with honeybees, and it's affecting native pollinators too, is all the chemicals that get used. And with bees, there's also a varroa mite, which is a small picture right here. This little mite there.
It's like a tick.
It's like a tick.
On bees.
And if we were a bee, the tick would be this big. And those,
So you can see them.
if you don't know what you're looking for, you don't see them. I can see them because we've been doing it for so long. But they carry more than 25 different viruses.
Just like ticks.
And the mites, what they do, if they only did the bees don't have blood, but they go in and they have what they call fat bodies. And the mites puncture a hole in the exoskeleton, and then they spit something that dissolves this fat body, and they suck it out. And in that spit is the viruses. Well, what they're sucking out is the bee's immune system, basically. So the bees have a difficult time then fighting off the viruses. The bees actually have a really good defense against toxins. Their body can actually do a lot to mitigate, thank you, the effect. But it's the issue is that there's so many factors, and this is happening to all bees, so many factors that they can't keep, it just is too much. So for beekeepers, our biggest thing is keeping those at bay. And we use what we call organic, because it's not a chemical made in a lab. We use oxalic acid or formic acid, which are both found in honey. It's also found in spinach, it's found in rhubarb, whatever. And we use that, and the acid doesn't bother the bees at all. But the mites, it just burns so they can't grab onto anything, and they fall off and die.
Where do the bees pick up the mites? In flowers, or are they just somehow in the...
No, what happens is bees have mites, and bees, everybody thinks that if I've got a hive here and I've got a hive over there, that the bees in this hive never go in that hive. Bees, you come
Drift.
flying in and you miss your mark, but I got a landing board, so I just go in and I've got pollen and nectar, and they say, come on in, we'll take it from you. And then there's a mite in that hive, and it jumps on that bee, this bee goes out again, oh wait, no, this is my home. So it comes here. Well, that one mite has a potential to make 5 or 6 more. And then each one of those can make 5 or 6 more. And what happens in the summer, the mites, they're not very many, and the bee population is growing, and then the mite population goes up, and the bee population is going down as it goes into winter. And when those pass, you're in trouble, real trouble. You basically have a dead hive. And so, if you can keep your mite levels down to 0, or really close to it, you have a good chance of your bees surviving. But if that, if we didn't have anything else happening, you probably could get by with the mites. Now, the mites came from Asia, and the bees in Asia aren't bothered by the mites. But they went, came together.
They coexisted for...
Yeah, existed together forever. And the European bees never had any mites in Europe. And so now they're all over the world. The mites have gotten everywhere. So one of the ways that we pick up a lot of mites is in the fall so if you have a swarm, and we do everything we can to capture every swarm that we have. But if we miss one, and that swarm goes out in the woods and ends up in a tree, hollow tree, and it's doing its thing all summer long, well, nobody's checking it for mites. So it gets mites, and it starts to die. Well, in the fall, as your nectar sources decrease, bees go out and rob other hives. They will go and rob weak hives. So they go out to that tree in the woods, and they're robbing out the honey. Well, at the same time, they're picking up all the mites, and they're bringing them back to their hive. And then so in the fall, starting right around now, you really have to be very vigilant. And you have to make sure you're checking for them, and if you have them, you're treating for them, because your hives will die. We have been very successful at keeping bees alive through the winter. But we're very vigilant about that checking.
What, do you have a mite dip or something?
It's kind of that's a paper.
You take oxalic crystals and you heat them up really quickly. So you take them and we have a little gun that you put it in, and when it hits the hot part of the gun, it just, it's a vapor, and you have to wear a respirator when you do this. You can't do this without a respirator. But it fills the whole hive. So everybody gets a light coating of oxalic acid. And we have what we call mite boards that we have in the hives that we then will pull out and check, because the mites will drop. And then you check to see what what we call your mite load is.
So our job as beekeepers or bee managers is to just be watching for the health of each hive throughout the season and as best you can in the winter time. Making sure that they go into the winter as healthy as possible with enough stores or food so they can make it through the winter. And like Christopher said earlier, drones do nothing, the male bees do nothing. So in the fall, they get kicked out of the hive to die.
Oh,
They throw them out.
After the...
Well, when they mate, but...
When they mate, they do, yes.
So-
If you're fortunate, yep.
So if a queen mates with 20 drones, a hive may have 1,000 drones in it.
Oh,
Usually, the average percentage
18%.
of drones to workers is 17% drones in a hive, in a healthy hive. I mean, you need the drones in order to keep genetics, and the genetic diversity and stuff. But, so you have a lot of drones that never ever mated with a queen, and they're just hanging out, they go out and fly. This is where, if you're a drone, if you're gonna be a drone, you really don't wanna mate with a queen. The fastest drones get to mate with the queen. Those are the strongest, which is what you want, mating with the queen, is the stronger drones. So the slow, out-of-shape drones get to hang out in the hive all summer long.
Get
the couch
fat and
potatoes.
clean.
Yeah. Eating and being taken care of, and they fly out. They're always flying in and out. And drones can go into any hive. That's another way mites get moved from hive to hive. Drones are not, like, if this hive starts going over there to rob it out, that hive will fight with them. They won't let them in. But if the drones from this hive go over there, they'll go, oh yeah, come on.
The drones aren't committed to their hives.
No, they'll go into any hive. They just go for where the food is.
So the number one job, most important job for honeybees and native pollinators is pollination. Because, what is it, 75 to 85% of our food, is it that high? Needs pollination.
I don't know if it's that high, but it's high. I mean, it's and the thing with, people don't realize, like with the commercial beekeepers, most of your food that you buy, unless you're buying local and you know where it's coming from, like everything we grow in our garden is pollinated by our bees.
And other native pollinators.
Yeah, other native pollinators. So if you buy our broccoli, you know that, blah, blah, blah. Anyways, commercial beekeepers are pollinating the world's food. And those beekeepers have anywhere from a few hundred to, there's one beekeeper that's 80,000 hives. So this year, the commercial beekeepers overall lost, I think it was 62% of their bees. So if you have 80,000 bees and 80,000 hives, colonies, and you lost 62%,
It's more than half.
so you got 38 out of 100 that survived. Now, normally, if you want to make more colonies, you split a hive in two. So if I lost 62% and I split what I have left over, I don't have 100 hives. I have 76. Now, if I lose that amount next year, hobby beekeepers tend to do better because we're not dealing with the numbers. We're not
And the stresses of the
moving from, one monoculture to another. Because bees are not monoculture beings. They are on everything in the area. And if there's only one thing in the area, and that's like with almonds, and that's probably the only one. Because most of them, even the blueberry barons, there's other things in the blueberries. And if somebody's doing raspberries, there's other things where they're doing raspberries. And apples, there's other things,
Citrus?
What?
Citrus?
Citrus, they don't grow citrus, I don't think, the way they do almonds. Because with almonds, they can't have anything on the ground because they have machines that come around and have these big, like, upside down umbrellas. And they grab the tree and they shake it and the almonds fall into this thing, and then they, but basically if you look at an almond orchard, they're trying to get them to change and let them grow other things so the bees have some more
year-round food.
Well, but just diversity while they're in the almonds. Because it's not healthy for the bees to just do one thing.
Just like people.
Right. And so...
Yeah, with citrus, though, there's not just citrus orchards. I mean, I grew up in Rio Grande Valley, and there, you have all kind of other crops
Usually,
mixed
yes.
in. I mean,
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So,
So pollination and native bees, are we ready to
Yeah.
go there?
so honeybees are this is the analogy. So you have native pollinators and you have your honeybees. And when you use honeybees, they're not necessarily made to be efficient pollinators on a lot of plants because they're not from here. So when they go to the blueberry barrens, and it's like a shotgun. If you fire enough pellets out there, you're going to hit something. Bumblebees are way better pollinators of blueberries than honeybees, but they're not enough of them.
And because that's one of the major crops in Maine, they have to bring in bees from away to pollinate the blueberry barrens.
Right, and so with native pollinators, most of them have developed synergistic relationships with the plants, and they do their gathering. A lot of it's done just by vibrating. And they go to the plant, they do a certain vibration, and the plant then releases the pollen and the nectar to that bee. Go ahead, what?
I read, and I don't know if this had to do with honeybees or just any pollen bees, that because they can see different parts of the spectrum than we can, I think it was that, they can see which flowers have been pollinated and which ones haven't.
Well, what they can see,
Or at least which were
they can see
recently
where the
pollinated.
nectar is. They can see, and bees don't go around to pollinate anything.
No, they're going around to get the nectar.
They're going around to get, well, they're also going to gather pollen because that's their protein. But they just do it, it's a secondary effect that now I fly from this blueberry flower, I've got pollen on me, and I go to the next one to get the nectar, and I just happen to have pollen on my body, and it gets rubbed off on that flower, and that flower produces a blueberry. The bee didn't go, okay, I'm going to pollinate the blueberries today, dear, I'll see you later. And so most of the native pollinators, and I'm trying to remember the number, but it's close to like 250
Or more.
different native pollinators in Maine. Now, we've lost some of the bumblebees, but like with bumblebees, and I don't know if you know this, in the spring, you know those great big ones? Those are all queens. So bumblebees all die off in the fall, just like yellow jackets or any of it. But before that frost comes, the queen in a functioning bumblebee hive goes out and lays eggs and leaves food for those, and those will be the queens that emerge in the spring. And you'll see those big bumblebees out, and I mean, they sound like a, I don't know, it's really loud.
Like a helicopter.
Yeah, and they will go around and they will start laying eggs in a hive that they've started. And as those workers emerge, they're the smaller ones. Then that queen will stay in the hive and just lay to replenish, and they will do the work of going out and pollinating. And bumblebees and honeybees are the only two social. Bumblebees are a much smaller colony, but they're social. But they only live that one season, and then
they only make enough food for survival of.
to grow the young and keep
for
that
next
going.
year. Yeah.
And then, so they're bumblebees, and most of your native pollinators are solitary. And they will, if you don't want honeybees, put a bunch of these around your yard. Or just take some straws and wrap them up, put them in some protected place.
Or a block of wood and drill some holes in it, put a little roof on it, put it on a fence post or on a building.
Yeah, I have blocks of wood. I just put different size holes in and then got a little roof and do that. And the thing that people don't know or don't realize that there's a lot of flowers that are only pollinated by wasps. Yellow jackets, they will pollinate. Bald-faced hornets will pollinate. Paper wasps will pollinate. They're not like bumblebees or the little mason bees or the leafcutter bees or I don't know what it is, I have to look it up, there's this just metallic green little, and some of them are almost the size of a little brown ant. I mean, they're just these tiny things, there's so many of them. And what's fascinating, often, especially with the sunflowers, because they're so big, but you'll have a sunflower and there'll be a couple of honeybees, a bumblebee, and then 4 or 5 different little pollinators all on the same flower, getting pollen. And and I have seen honeybees roll a native pollinator to get the pollen off of them. They don't kill them, they just kind of roll them and take their pollen.
How rude.
I know. I was like, wait a minute, what are you doing? Leave her alone. But, so what normally happens with native pollinators is the female will find the right size tube for whatever size she is, and she will lay 5 or 6 eggs in succession. She'll lay an egg, food, cap it off. Egg, food, cap it off. And
Starting at the back.
starting at the back, and then
Those are
all female.
The first ones are females.
And then the ones near the front are males. And the males emerge first, and then
In the
they
spring.
fly around, and then the females will come out, they mate, and then the females go and start the process all over again. So and then again, they overwinter
In that
in that form.
straw or in the native habitat, which would be, any stem that's
or
hollow
hole.
or whole.
By they, you mean the eggs or the adults?
The eggs will overwinter.
Okay.
And then the males come out first,
No,
and
got it.
then the females. And it's always in an egg larva form that is, overwintering.
But wasps and yellow jackets live in group hives also, groups, nests.
Right, but as far as bees are concerned,
Okay.
yeah, no, yes, these are social. They're not very sociable, but they are social. But no, as far as bees are concerned, honeybees and bumblebees, the rest of your native pollinators are all singular, loner,
Solitary.
solitary
Yeah.
insects. And normally, I don't bother, if I know there's yellow jackets nests around, I don't care unless I have to walk or do something near them, then I do eliminate them.
But they're also predators for, not the wasps and the bald-faced hornets are predators for other bugs that we don't necessarily like to have. They will patrol the top of our greenhouse, they just coast and grab
They'll
other
be
bugs.
flying up and down,
Yep.
up and down, and they'll grab something, you'll see, and out they'll go, and then they'll come back, because they're basically meat eaters. I mean, I watch them get nectar out of flowers, but they feed their brood, flies and
Protein.
other insects, but they're right in there and up and down the hoop house, and they'll grab something, and then out they go underneath. And
There are other important pollinators too. So there's butterflies, hummingbirds. There are nighttime pollinators. What would those be?
moth.
Bats?
Bats.
Bat.
Yep, bats. Probably bats are the only mammal that's a pollinator.
And so our Maine bats are pollinators? I thought they only ate insects.
Well, you know that mosquitoes drink nectar, so bats could do anything. Did you know mosquitoes,
No.
they actually go to plants and they need blood to do their eggs, but they do
You need to
suck
stay
out nectar.
hydrated.
Yeah,
Yeah.
hydrated, yeah.
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 And I have another question. Sometimes in the summer, you'll see especially those umbel-shaped flowers, but I'm not sure, maybe others. And if you look at the right angle, you realize there is a cloud of tiny insects flying around over them.
Over what kind of?
Flowers.
Like, you know the little bugs that fly around the rhododendron out front? You'll go outside and there's just
Oh,
this
right.
cloud of. you
I
know.
don't know what that is about.
Yeah, and I don't know that I've seen them pollinate. I'd have to ask Jen about that, if they pollinate. But I have seen them, and, do aphids pollinate? Because they're all, they're on the corn,
I mean,
corn
there's
pollen.
lots of beetles will pollinate.
Flies.
Flies will pollinate, there's different flies, there's,
In other countries, people pollinate. They will actually go around and
Hey, I've done
sometimes
that.
here.
I've done that.
I've done
Yeah.
that. I've
Yeah.
done that. But it's much easier to let the bees do it.
The issue that we're finding with the native bees is the same thing with the honeybees. They are being affected by climate change, by pesticides, by herbicides. I don't know about their viruses or things of that nature, but they are taking a hit. Oh, GMOs is another thing.
Yeah.
And the protein content of pollen has diminished over.
Yeah, there's a Smithsonian Institute has been taking goldenrod pollen
Samples.
testing samples since the late 1800s.
Really?
And the protein level was decreasing. In the last 20 years, it's decreased at a faster rate. So it's sort of like, people eating a fast food diet. They're getting protein, but they're also getting more of its carbohydrate, and they need the protein. So that's another thing that's affecting not only the honeybees, but all the pollinators that are going out there and getting that pollen.
And GMO pollen is very different than other pollens.
Yeah.
People say it almost looks fake, it's like a shinier. So
Really?
GMOs are also
Yeah, no,
an issue.
that's not a good
So, yeah.
thing.
So so I want to know what attracts bees to flowers. Is it the sight, the smell,
It's
shape?
What
I
I-
shouldn't say bees, I should say pollinators in general.
pollinators, different pollinators are attracted to different, the native ones have developed relationships with different
Right.
flowers.
Right.
Now, as you were saying, they see differently,
Sure.
and they can see whether plants have any nectar or not. And if you watch a bee, there'll be all these flowers, and they'll be going along, okay, I'm on that one. And it's like, well, that one looked fine, why did you not go to that one? Well, they're not seeing, and what was that, there was something else here.
Well, also when honeybees come back to the hive, they communicate to the bees around them different sources of water or pollen or nectar, and they communicate that through their dance of direction. But I don't know if native pollinators do that.
Well, they don't have it
They
because they're
don't
by
have
themselves. They're, again, you watch, like I watch the bumblebees, there's certain flowers that they're really drawn to. Blueberries, definitely.
Lavender.
The rhododendrons, the bumblebees are on the lavender.
Anise hyssop, they love.
Yeah, there's certain more native, well, I don't know, the rhododendrons are native, but boy, they love them. The honeybees could care less.
And those, blueberries too, bumblebees, but those are a lot of the flowers that release through vibration, the pollens and the nectar. And they have that vibration that honeybees don't have, or other native pollinators.
I've heard that so many times. And I thought it was okay, they're just squeezed into a tight spot, but no, they're actually.
No,
That's
they're,
So I know we're past 8.
We started late.
Oh, did you? Okay. Two flowers in particular have my curiosity. One is pears because they smell so bad. And I've not had a problem getting those pollinated at all. And we don't have any honeybees, we have all just native
Right.
pollinators. And the second that I am growing now, pawpaws. And my understanding is that they're very stinky, and they are, because one of my trees flowered completely this year, and very faint. So some people go for carrion sorts of flies,
Yeah.
you know, by hanging a piece of meat in the tree or something
Yes.
like that. Is that a reasonable thing to do, or are there other native pollinators that will come along that just aren't, that
So-
may not be in Maine now, that, you know, or in Appalachia, where Ohio, where pawpaws normally grow?
Why are you growing it if it smells so bad?
The flowers
Because
smell bad, not the fruit.
Oh, okay,
Yeah, the flowers
okay.
are terrible, but the fruit, I love pears.
I know with honeybees, they go for the easiest first.
Hmm.
And then when that's not available, they go, because like calendula, we used to grow a lot of calendula flowers. They just grew wild in the garden. You wouldn't see bees on them at all until fall. Marigolds, you never saw the bees on the marigolds until the fall, when they were, it was getting less and less
Yeah.
a variety, you know, things.
Available food sources.
Available food sources. And so I'm pretty sure the same thing would happen with the native pollinators. They're going to go to what they are accustomed, what they're, you know, and then when that source dries up, they're going to go to wherever they can find it. So I know, like, and also, this is something that you may not have noticed. Bees go to different plants during different times of day,
Sure.
because different flowers are available at different times of day. And like, we grow poppies, they just come up in our garden, they're there. And the bees will be on there at the crack of dawn. By 10 o'clock, there's not a bee on them, they're done. And like, we grow buckwheat, and we cover crop with buckwheat, and they, you know, it's like, why aren't they on the buckwheat? And then you go, and they're on it for a certain amount of time, and then they're gone. And so,
Corn tassels, same thing.
what's that?
The corn tassels.
Yeah, well, that's doing nothing for the corn. They're just getting the pollen.
Yeah.
They love going and getting the pollen from the corn. What was I going to say?
About what attracts
Oh,
pollinators?
I don't know.
If you wanted to draw them to, that you could put meat out on there, would you be attracting bears and other things by
Probably.
doing that?
Oh, yeah. probably.
Yeah. And
Well,
So,
what
still wait and
you'd
see.
also attract is you'd attract yellow jackets.
Yep, because they're.
Because I can remember working at a boys' camp on the maintenance crew, and the yellow jackets would come into the maintenance shack at lunchtime, and I remember people putting pieces of meat on the arm of the chair, and the yellow jacket would come and chew off a piece, fly away. Another one would come in, chew off a piece, fly away, and they'd have that little chunk of meat gone in no time. So you'd be attracting those things that, you know, I know my brother out west, they have twist wasp. He lived in Twist, but there's this wasp, it's called the twist wasp, and it's a bigger yellow jacket. It's not massive, but it's bigger than our yellow jacket. And they used to have to put traps out because they would destroy the beehives.
Oh.
And they used meat as an attractant, and you know, that's jarred, and then they'd get in and, you know, blah, blah, blah. But, you know, I don't know, you know, probably honeybees would probably pollinate that faster than some of the native pollinators.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
And if you had like clover or something planted underneath, all the native pollinators would just go for the clover and not bother with the pawpaws,
Not
right?
necessarily.
necessarily.
Not necessarily, because well, I don't know native pollinators. I can talk about honeybees. Honeybees, when Paul was talking, a bee goes out and finds clover. So there's a patch of clover right here. Goes out, comes back, says, okay, 150 yards northeast of this position, there is a clover patch. It's this big and it has this much. So those bees all go there. Another bee flies out there and it finds plantain, same area. Says it comes back, plantain, 150 yards out, blah, blah, blah. Those bees go to plantain. They never touch the clover.
Huh.
The ones that have been told to go get plantain, that's what they go get. They don't even, they'll fly right over the clover. The ones that are on the clover, ignore the plantain until they're told what to do next.
Fascinating.
So I'm assuming that native pollinators are keyed in on specific plants as the summer goes along, and then available. But again, my only thing with your pawpaws is with the honeybees, you're going to get some of them on that plant.
Yeah.
And when does it blossom?
Late June, early July?
No, late May.
Oh,
Yeah, early June.
Well, maybe if we know, we can bring down a hive and put it and see if they go to the pawpaw. I don't know what the nectar would be like if
might spoil your honey.
bring down a nuke and
There you go.
uh,
Yep. That would
see
work.
what it does.
That'd be interesting.
That would be interesting though. Well, we could do an experiment next spring, Mike.
I'll bring up a picture here.
Do you have
And
any
just
other
say-
questions or?
Other questions?
Just looking for when the pawpaw blooms.
Like some pollinators, like some wasps, their part of their life cycle is that some their egg or larva has to grow in a certain type of fruit or something,
Yeah,
right? I mean, I remember reading something about that they actually sting the fruit and lay the egg there, and then it,
Yeah,
Like figs.
Spotted
Well, that's a
Drosophilus do
fruit
that,
fly.
a fruit fly, yep.
oh, that's those things are horrible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, May 18th is this picture.
May 18th, okay, that's gorgeous. Wow.
We have
Now, so you didn't get any fruit off of it?
We have 2 pawpaws on that tree. Nobody else bloomed.
So they pollinated each other.
Oh, so
There were
you
100 blossoms,
Oh.
200 blossoms on that tree. 2 pawpaws.
well, we
Well, that's a shocker.
we have plum trees that have been there
Since
before we were
got
there.
yep.
And
They're just
most
gorgeous,
beautiful
yeah.
flowers. The
Most gorgeous,
fragrance
yes.
is
Oh, yeah.
to die
Stunning.
for. I mean, it's
Yeah.
just, you'll be in the yard on a warm
Mhm.
evening in a window and you're just like,
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah.
I'll go stand
Toxic.
amongst them and just smell. The bees are all over those.
But
Nothing.
not a plum.
We'll get,
Maybe
I think the most we got was like 3 plums one time. And we've got
one
2,
year.
3, 4, 5 trees.
How close are they?
They're pretty close to each other.
Oh, they're very
6
close to
feet?
each other. The trees and the bees, the bees are like,
Wait,
No,
the bees
the
and
plum
the
trees.
The trees.
The
plum
trees are very close.
6 feet, 5 feet, something.
oh yeah, they're close.
Yeah.
I mean,
Okay.
They're not flowering plums, they're like.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, no, there's actual fruit that will sometimes, but I don't even bother. I mean, it's great, I love them because of the fragrance, and I know the bees are getting something, but they don't do a thing.
Ah.
And I don't know whether it's, I mean, we have other plums and cherries and stuff that should be able to cross. Nope.
So annoying.
And the other thing with the climate change and pollination is in some of the orchards this year and last year, there were no apples because of that, there was a hard frost. And then if they bloom and it is pouring rain, and there's lots of different reasons.
Which is the case this year, yeah.
Yeah, no,
Yeah,
we haven't had apples for 2 years.
We had Asian pears last year, didn't we?
Yeah, Asian pears were great, but
this year we don't.
there were so many, I just figured they needed a year off. I mean, I've never seen so many Asian pears on our tree. I mean, the branches were just loaded.
But not breaking.
They didn't break.
Didn't.
No, I went out and I
You're lucky.
would take all,
Count them up.
well, I was picking them.
You would pick.
I'd pick some and,
Harvest.
to try and lighten the load.
Yeah.
But no, it's been really
Strange.
bizarre fruit,
Bizarre.
The orchard's been,
Yeah.
But, I mean, we got bees right there. I mean, so if they're blooming, the bees are gonna be on them.
Yeah.
But we can bring down a small hive and just see what happens, just for fun, just to see.
Well, we should talk about it next April.
Yeah.
maybe.
Well, I'd like to get 2 or 3 or 4 pawpaws blooming. And then there's more guarantee. And, these are grafted varieties and they sucker. So we've got rootstock coming up 3 feet away from the main stem. That's a different genetics.
Yeah.
So once this guy blooms, it'll talk to the grafted variety 2 feet away, 1 foot away. I'm not too worried.
Okay.
Just patience.
Well, thank you very
Thank
much.
you.
We really appreciate it.